Hey, it's another edition of Coffee with the Goose. Let's rock and roll again, shall we? I am the Goose. So glad you joined me again. It's spring, and that means boxing season, and I mean some great fights are coming up. We're going to limit this to, we only have so much time, and because I'm married to a Filipino, right, we're going to limit this to the 3 of the 4 Filipino world champion boxers. Before we get going, though, of course, you got to have, what am I doing here? I want to be the person my dog thinks I am, whatever that is. It is Coffee with the Goose. Let's have a little sip of Java, shall we? Got some coffee, very strong with my opinion, and got some creamer in there to make it sweet. Oh, so sweet. Just like you know who. All right, let's go with the big news just released the last day or two, and that is the long-awaited, exciting rematch of a war that was fought a couple years ago. Donaire, the Filipino Flash from the Philippines, and Donaire-Inoue, the monster from Japan. We've been waiting for this, and I am so excited because these are 2 great championship fighters. And they went at it in 2019 in Japan, and it was an absolute slugfest, won by Inoue, and they're going to do it again. It'll be a rematch for the bantamweight crowns, or 3 of the 4. Another Filipino holds the other one, of course. So let's go through the details and find out just who is who and what to expect. Donaire, of course, a long honored Filipino boxing champion. He's now 39, but it doesn't look like he's lost much. He is 42-6 on his career with 28 KOs. He is the WBC bantamweight champion of the world. Donaire-Inoue will be 29 by the time this fight takes place. He's from Japan. He's 22-0 with 19 KOs, and he's a very scary fighter. They went at it in 2019, and I think for most of Inoue's career, he's just dominated, walked all over his opponents. Only 3 of his 22 opponents have went the distance, and Donaire was one of them, the latest of the champions, and he was hurt. He was hurt badly by Donaire. You know, the action went back and forth, one fighter dominating, then the other. It was a classic boxing championship war. Look it up. You'll enjoy it. It was amazing. Inoue suffered a broken eye socket, kept going, tough guy, and a broken nose. He kept fighting even with these injuries, and he had double vision at one point, but he stuck it out. And the contest was still in doubt, in my opinion, when he knocked down Donaire with a body shot in the 11th round, and it looked like he wasn't going to get up. But he somehow got back to his feet and continued the war. And Inoue ended up winning a unanimous decision, but it was an absolute brutal slugfest. And they're going to go at it again. Expect more of the same when these 2 guys fight on June 9th in Japan. By the way, that 2019 fight was the fight of the year. No question about that. How have these 2 guys contended? How have they fought? How have they done since then? Well, more of the same. Inoue, who won the WBA title with that victory over Donaire, is now the WBA and IBF bantamweight champion of the world. He's fought 3 times since that fight and knocked out all of his opponents. Donaire, he has fought twice, and both knockouts in the 4th round. And in one of them, over another Filipino fighter, he won the WBC bantamweight championship of the world. So these guys are going to unify 3 of the belts with this fight on June 9th in Japan. I'm really looking forward to this. I believe for you fight fans in the United States, it'll be on ESPN. Now, let's not, again, I've said this in past shows, don't just go on what you hear initially. You need to scratch the surface, do a little research, and you'll find out more about each fighter, what they're capable of and what their weaknesses are. And even though Inoue has not lost in the pro ranks. He is beatable. Everybody's beatable, okay? It's just a matter of finding the right game plan and sucking it up and being a man and doing what you have to do. His amateur career, stellar, 75-6 with 48 KOs. So he's lost 6 times. He's beatable, no doubt about it. Will Donaire be the guy to finally, be the one to beat him on the pro level? We'll see. It remains to be seen. Donaire also has an amazing amateur record, 68-8 with 3 U.S. national championships. Now, he's from Bohol in the Philippines, but he moved to the U.S. when he was 11. So he's been living in the California, L.A. area, I believe, with a gym, and his wife, Rachel Donaire, who is his manager and promoter. So it's a husband and wife team, and a great one at that. Oh, by the way, Bohol in the Philippines, been there, of course, been all over the Philippines, the home of the Chocolate Hills. It's an amazing place, right next to Cebu, where my wife is from. And that is also the home, Bohol that is, of Mark Magnifico Magsayo, who is another champion for the Philippines. So it's going to be a great fight. I'm so excited about it. And who is the other bantamweight title holder? Well, it's John Real Casimero from the Philippines. And he is going to be doing battle here very shortly in a couple of weeks on April 23rd in London against Paul Butler. So if he wins, and most pundits expect him to win, you never know though, don't always, don't take anything for granted, then he will be the next contender for the winner of the Donaire and Inoue battle in June in Japan. So we're going to do a show, and more than one, of course, because the fight is coming up soon with the John Real Casimero against Paul Butler battle. Hopefully we'll get a chance. I'm not sure if we'll get a chance to talk to Casimero, because he has been fighting in Cebu City, or training in Cebu City. He eventually, normally he would come to the U.S. to train for a couple of weeks before his fight, but this one is going to be held in London, so I'm not sure what his schedule is going to look like. But we probably won't get a chance to chat with him, and we'll give it a shot. Donaire, though, I think we give me a week or so, and I'm going to get on the phone and give them a call and see what we can do about a Zoom interview with Nonito Donaire. Got a lot to talk about. I'm a big fan of his. He's been a champion for a long, long time. Oh, yeah, that other championship fight already set on July 9th. Magnifico Mark Magsayo, the WBC featherweight champion of the world, with that win over Gary Russell Jr. back in January. He was so gracious and a great guy. Gave us an interview after that. Hopefully we'll get a chance to chat with him before his next fight. And he will be taking on Ray Vargas, undefeated great champion from Mexico. That will be a very interesting battle as well. I did a show on that, an initial observation of what's going to happen there. And of course, we'll talk more about that. So go ahead and check that out. We talk a lot of boxing here on Coffee with the Goose, and we love to have you join us. And again, love to get your opinions, because you are the smartest, most passionate YouTube crowd when it comes to boxing. No doubt about it. So let's sum it up again. Big news just released. It will be a rematch of the 2019 Fight of the Year in Japan, and it'll be held in Japan again. It'll be the Filipino Flash, 39-year-old Nonito Donaire of the Philippines, putting his WBC Bantamweight Championship of the World on the line against the monster from Japan, Donaire-Inoue, who will be 29 at the time of the fight. He's 22-0 on his career, an absolute wrecking machine. 19 of those 22 victories by knockout. Again, that's going to happen on June 9th, probably on ESPN, and we'll cover this fight in a lot of detail as the months go by. We got a couple of months to get ourselves ready for this, probably on ESPN. And again, the other bantamweight title holder, John Real Casimero from the Philippines, will be in action on April 29th against Paul Butler in London, the WBO bantamweight title on the line. So that's it for this edition of Coffee with the Goose. Thanks so much for joining me again. Love to get your opinions. A lot of stuff to talk about with all the great Filipino fighters and, of course, the great Japanese and who was that? Ray Vargas from Mexico and Paul Butler from the UK. Lots of stuff to talk about. When spring comes, it's usually the time when we hear about great fights on the horizon, and we've got 3 of them. So let's talk about that. Let me know what you guys have to think. That's it for this edition of Coffee with a Goose. Talk to you again soon.